What do you mean by orienting yourself?
For example, yesterday I was searching about something the whole day, and I was very sucked into this activity, and I was feeling my body is discomfort. But I was not able to feel it. I felt this gravity, like it's like something is happening, and I have no idea how to get out of. I'm being sucked into this. My body is kind of screaming, pay attention to me, kind of thing. And I wasn't able. And looking back at yesterday, it felt like I was being hijacked, kind of thing. And the day before it was the opposite. I was sitting and most of the day, and it's not like I was feeling comfortable. There was discomfort, but I was able to just feel it, be with it, move with it. I wasn't concerning myself about the next thing to do.
When you are sucked into this kind of activities, like surfing on the internet or like reading about something, it was something like that, right?
Yeah.
Does it feel like very busy, or do you feel rather calm?
It feels very busy, very
Yeah, actually,
hectic.
I also have that I'm sucked into an activity and it's a bit maniac, like reading too much, and it's usually like yeah, when I feel something I could label maybe anxiety or also emptiness, and I'm not, yeah, maybe not able or not willing to feel into it, and then it's like this hectic searching for some activity. And this is also like yeah, an issue for me, because I didn't manage yet to just sit with it. It's sometimes it's not possible for me. I have to I also feel sucked into this doing something all the time, and it doesn't feel nice. It feels yeah.
The thing is, I used to have this kind of experience before, but I wasn't as aware of what's happening. I was so, like, maybe the difference yesterday is like I was feeling the discomfort. I was feeling that I'm on this ride that I can't control. There was a knowing of it, but before I was just in it. I was completely lost in it, and I wasn't. And it's always maybe thinking about it's about something else. It's about the subject I'm interested in, or it's about the issue I'm trying to solve. But now I see it isn't. It's just this movement. Maybe it's habit. I don't know.
And then you feel annoyed by yourself because you think like, but I know that, or I see what is happening, but I can't change it.
I don't think annoyed. Maybe like, maybe my perspective now is just how to manage that, how to do stuff without being being sucked into them, to have a space where I can fall back.
It's funny, huh? Ramiz, you are already seeing it. The seeing is the doing. When you feel sensation, and then there is a gravity, that full experience, you know, like, in fact, we can reverse it also, and I can say, oh, there is sensing, and suddenly there is a gravity, and suddenly thought is just pouring into your experience, and just only thoughts. At the same time, it's not true that you're not feeling your sensation, because we are saying it's very uncomfortable. So you are feeling it, but the thought is there and the story is there, but you are seeing it. The moment that you say, oh, I have to change it, then you are into the you fall back into the maze, saying, oh, there's an exit from this. No, the seeing is the doing. You said that before you were not aware of it. You really believe that it was very important to watch Formula One and to see who is first. This Ferrari has passed the second one, and what's happening into Ferrari world. And after half an hour, you are like, I don't care about Ferrari. Why I was looking about these cars, you know? But now you are seeing why it's happening. So the seeing will do the heavy lift for you. The seeing will change whatever needs to change into experience. You don't have to worry about how experience happen. Gravity will naturally, attention will bring attention to the body, and can stay there for an hour or a year. Maybe you will die of anger, maybe not. Maybe there is hunger, and then you start to think about eating something. Then you eat about a salad. It's very healthy, but actually, no, McDonald's is better, you know. So now you find yourself going to the McDonald's. So what? You are seeing the process. You are seeing the pattern of Rami's unfolding.
Can you see that? Can you see that when you said, I don't know how to manage it, right? So can you see that whole idea is a way of not managing it, is a way of running away from it or distracting from it? So what David's saying is, you don't need to manage it. the fact that you can see it is the managing of it, but it's not managing as in there's no agency, right? What there is just something else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can say from my own experience that yeah, coping with addictions, for example, is like then maybe you do it again and again and again, but you get more aware of what is happening while you are smoking a cigarette again or having a glass of wine again. And then somehow maybe it takes like 100 times of seeing it and doing it anyway. But at some point, I could really feel like that the reaction to the trigger was like in slow motion, that I could like really see it quick enough to I don't want to say react, because it sounds like doership, because I think it's just, yeah, it just but I know that the seeing eventually at some point just also will lead to its dissolution.
Yeah. So one thing that comes to mind here is that an addiction that probably most people have that they don't realize is an addiction to more. I always want more. That's what we were talking about, Tyler, that more, that thing. And so you don't even stop to realize, Ram, is that by watching it, by seeing it happen, that's changing it. You just go straight into the addiction for more. I need to manage this. I need to do more. I need to do more to get more. More.
Maybe, but I think there is some kind of practical aspects to it. And it's like I'm listening to the body. It's not just I'm trying to manage it. It's just the body is so tired. It's so from all this.
Yeah.
Just the body needs to take a break, kind of thing. And it's like I'm listening. I'm sensing the body, but the doing is not stopping. And it's like, holy, I need a break, but I can't somehow.
You have to accept the free fall. That's your fear. You want to hold to something, to some technique, to some. If your system cannot hold it and he starts to be busy with things, let it be.
So imagine yourself standing on a really, really high wall, 20 stories up, and you're standing on the edge with your back to the ground, and you just fall backwards and start falling with your back leading your way to the ground. And in the beginning, there's all this clenching up and tightening that like I'm going to die. I'm going to hit the ground and I'm going to splat and I'm going to die. But after you've been falling for a couple of minutes, it comes to you that, well, I should have hit the ground by now, but I haven't. I'm just falling, just free falling. At that point, you can start to relax. All the clenching, all the tightness can go, and you can just relax, because you know that although you're falling, you're not going to hit anything. You're just going to keep on falling. And it's not like you do the unclenching. It's just when you realize that you're not going to hit the ground, that you don't need to be tight anymore. So it's a metaphor. You're at the stage where you still think you need to be tight, but you're very close to where you can just let go and relax and watch what happens.
So I don't need to do the relaxing.
No, relaxing happens. Like you said, who clenched up when you first started to fall and you clenched up? You didn't do that, did you? That just happened. Yeah.
There is a very, very good example that can be helpful, you know. When you are born, the hand is naturally kind of open, right? The finger of the hand are kind of naturally open, right? If you do a fist for like a year or 2 years, and you stay every time you think about your hand, you tight your fist. If you do this for a year or 2 years, okay, you wouldn't be aware of it. At some point, it will be normal to have a tight fist. So when this happens, that's where often spirituality begins, and we talk about techniques and do yoga and do this and watch your thought and sit for hours and whatever, you know. Because when you want to open, it's painful. It's painful, and you have to put energy to open the hand because it was tight for years. So you put energy. And you put energy, and teachers tell you, yeah, but the end is naturally open, so there's nothing to do. But it's not really true, because it's tight for so long that you have to put effort, right? So you put effort, you put effort, you put effort. But at some point, if you put effort, it's tight again, because at some point the hand you have to let go of the hand so the hand can open naturally. And if you put effort again, the only effort possible is to tight again. So at some point, effort is counterproductive to the process of the unfolding. And you are in this stage, like you sense it, but somehow you still believe that there is something to do. But no, and it's not one or the other, you know. But it's just you are already free falling. So when you are in sensation, you can see that sensation already unfold naturally. And when you watch thought, if thought is agitation, is the same. Like, can you be with very tight sensation or painful sensation? Ramiz, can you hold that?
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay. Well, thinking have the same breathing. Thinking is agitated. When it contracts, it feels very agitated. And when it expands, you feel, I understand the universe and it's beautiful. And after it contracts again, oh no, it's horrible. And so thinking has the same breathing patterns. So when you are with a agitated state of mind, it's the same. It's the same doing as when you are with a painful sensation. The seeing, this is it. So when you are for hours into feeling your body, and suddenly there is a gravity, there is something, you experience change, and there is more thinking, well, nothing changed for you. It's the same seeing, but experience have changed. The activity of thinking is more present. You are smiling, so I guess something's happening. Maybe.
I remember also Leonard once said, when it's contracting, it's when most important to relax, something like that. And yeah, I forget this all the time. I
don't know
forget to
what you mean.
relax when it's.
Yeah, but the
when I'm
relaxing
doing
is the seeing. We agree with that, right? Like when you feel a tight sensation, the relaxing is not trying to breathe or trying to move the body to relax sensation. You relax into your awareness and you just hold the tightness, sensation of tightness in you. That's what you mean by relaxing? Or you mean doing gym because I'm tense here, so I start to do this because it's tense and I start to move. What do you mean by relax?
I think the seeing can actually result in a physical relaxation, right?
I mean, is that your experience?
Yeah, it's sometimes, sometimes not, but
So,
so maybe my expectation is to, like, if I'm relaxing, I would be less tight.
yeah, but that's expectation. When you approach your experience with expectation, you add tension. And when you approach sensation with expectation of relaxation, you add tension. And when you approach your thinking with I want a peaceful mind, I want peace, you bring agitation. It is true that in my experience, when I am seeing, experience seems to be more light in all levels. But as soon as I'm saying, oh, I'm relaxed, it's tense again. So any expectation, it's yeah, just watch it. But I think because what you can watch, because this is what you were speaking about in the beginning, as understood, is that to make that difference between seeing sensation and seeing thinking. But if you approach the activity of thinking the same way you approach sensing and sensation, maybe the difference between both can really relax and you understand that it's the same seeing in both activities. It's just sometimes one is in front and the other seems to be in the back, and sometimes it's the opposite way. But the seeing is the same seeing behind is the same. I think we read too much story about Buddhas and peaceful people and all of this, and it built a lot of expectation of how experience should be. But this is not about how experience should be. This is not about how Ramis should act or think or do. Ramis is perfect as it is. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I also do face what Rami is faces sometimes when you know, I have a lot of thoughts and I think it's a problem. And then I realize that it's a problem is a thought also. This is, yeah. I It's like we see processes, and when we see the processes, sometimes we can, not we can, but sometimes the mind can make judgments about the processes when we see it, and then we'll believe the judgment of the process because we can see the process. But we don't see that the judgment of the process is another process. And I think that might be what Ramiz is experiencing.
It's not only another process, and but it's a process with the intention of diverting us away from the first process. Not that processes can have intentions, but that's, yeah, but anyway, that's a way to look at it. So when you see what's going on and the idea comes that you need to manage it, it's nothing about managing, it's about avoiding. It's about diverting.
But it's very tricky because it is true that we use a lot thinking to as a defense mechanism, as a survival mechanism, as an emotional defense survival. But when I hear and I say it sometimes, so yeah, I mean, I understand, like it's a diversion, like the mind diverts itself because some other part is too much, so we'll focus only on this, right? We will just negate this part of experience and we'll focus on this. There is this tendency that, oh, so I have to fight this diversion somehow, you know, so I can look.
Yeah.
And somehow it's true. I mean, at some, yeah, it makes sense. At the same time, it's very subtle, because if this mechanism is in place, if the diversion, if this gravity, you know, like, oh, like I like Rami say gravity, and I think it's a very good word, because you cannot fight gravity, you know. It's like, ooh, you are just,
It's there, yeah.
it's like this, you know. You're just thought is just pulling you, or experiences change, and it change what is happening. We also have to be very gentle and loving, because this process, it's like it's a defense mechanism, so it protects something.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's very subtle, because if someone say, oh, so I have to do nothing, I would say the opposite. And if I say, oh, so I have to do nothing, I would say, no, you have to look. So it's kind of, it's very subtle. It's nice.
Yeah, and it's true. When I say, you know, that's a diversion, there's an implication easily read into that's what we've got to stop. We shouldn't be doing that. No, that's not true. That's not it. It's brilliant that diversion is there, right? Because it directs us where to focus, where to look. And so when we recognize it's a diversion, it's not about the diversion either. It's about what we're diverting from. So it's always, yes. So I have to, I don't know how to put this. Everything I say, I need to add to it, but nothing is wrong. Nothing can ever be wrong. Yeah. So whether if it's a diversion, that's to help you point back to what the thing that you were getting away from was about. It's not a matter of saying don't do it.
Yeah, but you see, in my experience, suffering will make you free. Because when you see, like Rami is now Rami said, like you said, Rami, you are aware of more, right? So when you look at experience more and more, and you're able to see, at some point you see that the diversion is it's pouring more pain in your experience than the actual things that you are running from. So that's why in the seeing there is the freedom, and there's nothing to do, because in the seeing you will see that what I do to avoid my addiction is worse than that. At some point I have no choice, because it's suffering. So that's naturally you will start to experiment what is below this avoidance process. When the system is ready, so you don't have to plan anything. It will happen when the system is ready. So the seeing is really it's everything.
Mm. Yeah. So it's
So
important to say, everybody, absolutely everybody who is in a good place will recognize that all of the suffering that they've ever been through in their whole life was all necessary for them to get to that good place. They will all say that. I can speak for everybody with that. All the suffering I went through as a child, all the suffering I went through every time I've suffered about anything, all absolutely necessary to get me to where I am. Isn't it great? Isn't it good that I suffered? Of course, it's easy to say when you're not in the suffering and hard to say when you are, but there you go. Yeah.
I have a question. How to be kind to your self-hatred?
Well, firstly, you need to seriously thank the fact that you see that there is self-hatred there. So thank the self-hatred, if you like, because it's telling you something that otherwise you would never know about yourself. So the first step is we not only accept that it's there, but we celebrate the fact that it's there. It's going to be useful for us. Now, do we need to go past that first step at the moment?
Do you think if that kindness doesn't come naturally, is it a good idea to fake it?
Yeah, let's change that a little bit. It's always a good idea, I think, to develop multiple perspectives on something, and faking it might be one of those perspectives that you could look at to see what comes out of it. But there are probably many different perspectives you could take towards it. So faking it can certainly be good for a whole lot of things as an experiment. Faking it can lead to things that otherwise wouldn't be. So I know, for example, if I started laughing now, in the first few minutes, I would be faking it because what have I got to laugh about? I mean, I could think of things maybe, but anyway, that faking that laughter in the beginning will lead to genuine laughter. I've experienced that. It does happen. So maybe faking kindness could lead to genuine kindness. I don't know. You would have to watch when you did it. Try it. Well, try anything. It's all an experiment. This whole thing is a big experiment. And guess what? With experimenting, we discover things. And it's like what we discover are things we accidentally find out about. And we can't find out about something we know about because we already know about it. And if we imagine we know about it and we go looking for it, it's never going to be what it is we imagined anyway. So, yeah, just let go and see what happens. Whatever turns up, anything that turns up, good, bad, indifferent, whatever you want to come up with, what label to describe whatever comes up with, it's all good. Right? That's not true. It's not bad. None of it is bad. That's not true either, but they're both true. Right? They are what they are, what they are. That's the thing. You know, so when you were talking, Ramiz, I just, you know, I had a flashback to my awakening, and that awakening with the realization that no matter what I become aware of that is going on for me, no matter what, by the time I'm aware of it, it's finished. So any idea about changing it or wanting it to be different, that corrupts the next moment. And with that realization, that was so big a deal for me. That realization was that I just instantly dropped into a place of accepting whatever turns up. Anything that turns up, whatever it is. And even that, talking about it like that makes it seem like that what it is that turns up is predetermined. But that's not true either, because what turns up is my interpretation. And I used to have a different perspective on life, so my interpretation was different. So now when shit turns up, it's not only something I have to suffer and get through, it's an opportunity. I can celebrate the fact that shit turns up. It's good. It's the same shit that used to be there before, except I have a different idea of it now. So that brilliance of accepting whatever turns up, because what's the option? You can't. How can you not accept it? What are you going to do about it? Promise yourself you'll do it better next time? That's another story. What can you do? There's nothing, absolutely zero you can do except accept it. There it is. And anything you bring to it is going to infect the next moment. So the best thing I can bring to it is nothing. If that's possible. I don't know if it is, probably not. But if I can bring as close as possible to nothing to it, that minimizes the corruption of the next moment.
Yeah, reality won't say, thanks for accepting me.
Yeah.
But what I also found like quite interesting is that interesting about the seeing is, for example, I can be totally confused, but there is the seeing of this confusion. And the seeing itself is not confusion. It's like very clear. But then maybe in this moment of confusion, there is seeing of not being in control about what I do or what is my reaction. And that's also an insight into not being a doer, actually.
Yeah, and it can be quite a trick to not get involved in the confusion. So it's like one of the things that you would ask yourself, Tyler, is if that confusion is there, can I live with it? Is it okay? Is it I'm giving up voluntarily, it seems, the satisfaction of sorting the confusion out. But I don't need to do that. I can just allow the confusion to be there. What do you reckon, Bianca? What do you do with confusion?
Was thinking about all the paradoxes I see. Uh, I, I thought I can add today hating the self-hatred to the collection. And you know, it's only like this autoreference, autoreference.
Mhm.
You know, like a question. No, like a sentence. I am lying now. If I am lying, then I am telling the truth. If I'm telling the truth, then I am like, it's because the sentence is referencing itself. And it seems to me much of this confusion is because humans are auto-referencing creatures. Having expectations about not having expectations, and
You always
Good
give
one.
me a different perspective. That's great. I love it. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and at some point in the past, I was interested in writing a book, right? So I started to writing, right? Okay. So the mind. I said, what is the mind? So I pick up a dictionary, right? And I look at the mind, and there were many words to describe the mind. So okay, so mind, it's where thought happen. Okay, but what is a thought? And suddenly I was just copying somehow the dictionary again, because every word referred like is like Bianca is saying. So that's the maze without exit.
Yeah. The wheel that the rats run on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Talking about diction.
what? Okay,
No.
go on there.
No, I just, yeah, I don't know if it is so interesting, but I just remembered that in German, the word for addiction has the same origin as the word for searching.
Okay.
And I think it's quite an interesting etymology because, yeah, searching for more and addiction is quite the same, right?
And well, it came to me when Ramis was talking about this being kind to my own self-hatred. Yeah, like in this story that Eckhart Tolle tells about his awakening, it was thanks to self-hatred. Because he looked at it and but who is hating who? I don't know if it comes to this point when we are so much in this loop that it just breaks. We break out of it.
One of the ironies I'm going through also is I'm trying to find a system that helps me organize things. And it's the process of finding how to organize things is so complicated that I want to know how to organize things.
So for me, seems to be like a constant refocusing down deeper and deeper onto what we're meaning. So as soon as you say trying to organize things, I'm thinking, what is organizing? When we have something organized, what do we do? Is it that we put them in neat rows or in correct pigeonholes, or that organization seems to be about making things more accessible, maybe? Right. See what I mean? If this question goes off in the mind here about what is organizing? What are we trying to do when we want to organize? Are we trying to organize our thoughts? If we're organizing our thoughts, do we put them into categories, have labels and little slots we can put them in? What are we trying to do when we organize? What is the purpose of organizing? What are we actually doing when we organize? It's like we can say, well, if I organize my garage shelf out there, I'd be able to find things better. But you know what? I don't have any trouble finding things, even though it looks like a mess. Unless my wife cleans it up, then I can't find anything. But while it's a mess, I have no trouble finding it. It doesn't need organizing. So what is it you want to organize, Ramiz? And what will be the result of organizing it? Is it just a promise that you'll feel better when things are organized? That sounds like a thought promise to me.
I think I want to take a rest from my mind. Like, I want a system that thinks for me. Like, I
Okay.
can't wait for AI to become super intelligent that I don't have to do anything. I tell it to do everything.
Okay, so I'll recommend this bloke called Elon Musk, and he can go and put electrodes into your brain and let artificial intelligence do your life for you.
You are very stubborn, Rami. You stubbornly refuse the free fall. You already have a mind that is doing everything. You already have something that is producing the activity of thinking. You already have something that is producing the activity of sensing. This is pure chaos. This is what chaos look like. What you want to do, you are free falling, and you want to build some kind of floor so you can feel safe, That's good. You can build it. But that doesn't change the fact that you are free falling. So you are free to do everything you want. It doesn't change what things are.
Hmm.
And when, again, I think the confusion is you are making differences between a sensation and a thought, and a perception, probably, right? We make a lot of it in this direct experience, right? There is perception, there is sensation, and there is thinking, there is thought. But but this is conceptual also. a sensation is not physical and a thought is not mental.
Mm.
Everything is experience, and experience is this that is here. So at some point, there is no difference between anything. There's no difference between thinking, sensing, or perceiving. It's just a seamless experience that appear in different ways. That's why this metaphor about water it's powerful. There is liquid water, there is solid water, and there is gas water. I don't know the name, what? Gas and
Steam.
vapor and steam,
Mm.
ice and water. But it's water in the three cases. So when you want to organize, you want to put ice water there, steam there, but it's useless. It's just water. You don't need to organize anything. Everything is already organized. Everything is already what it is. So you can chill already. You have to accept the free fall.
So what thought comes up here is follow through on when you contemplate what organizing is, then you come to the conclusion that, what I really want is a rest from my thoughts. And if we look at that a bit closer, then we say, are your thoughts are causing the use of energy? You're getting tired from them? What is your, how does that work? What's happening there? It is obviously about your relationship to your thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. The thoughts are just there. They're just words on a blackboard. They have no power. They have no instructions, no directions. They're just words. But somehow you're getting tired in your interaction with them. And you need that rest. It'd be good for you to have a rest. Now, the first thing to jump to is, oh, well, let's get rid of thoughts. Then I'll have a rest if I get rid of thoughts. But that's not going to happen. But it's not about the thoughts, is it? It's about your relationship to them. So why do your thoughts keep sticking pins into you and mine don't? I'm friends with my thoughts, quite friendly. Which means I can tell them to shut up and they do. And they don't take offense. They just go away.
I feel like the thoughts have potential to maybe have an effect on what's happening. And I feel like my thoughts doesn't have that potential. Like,
yeah, you have substandard thoughts. Okay, your thoughts don't have any age.
no,
Yeah.
it's more like, here is a decision that is so complicated. It involves a lot of things.
Yeah.
And the less I know, the less I'm gonna make the correct decision for the outcome, whatever it is. And if I have enough information, I would be able to solve, or like, for example, to write, for example, an article, I could spend like a month researching, writing, and I could, the super intelligence AI, I could ask it, write this article about something, and it writes it in a few seconds. And it's like, and when things becomes more practical, like what to do, how to plan things, it seems like there are a lot of things that so exhausting. Like, I need to figure this out, I need to figure this out, I need to plan this out. And I don't know, I have this expectation, if something can help me with this, I can
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And I'm hearing you say, I need to feel like I've got agency, otherwise I'll start to feel helpless, and I don't want to do that. Is that too big a jump?
No, I think it's accurate.
I also sometimes feel the urge to organize things. I mean, I don't do that anymore, but whenever that happened, I started to read philosophy again, and then like like comparing certain philosophies, like, could this be a model? Just to have something written down that I can read through once in a while or something like that. And yeah, I mean, as a fiction, it's nice. As a story, so I like certain philosophers, just like literature, to read it. But then in the end, I would say life is just a dirty business, you know. It's not possible to have like a clean flat or something like that. I mean, you can clean your flat, but that doesn't mean that life is going to be more organized. And I don't know if I'm expressing myself clearly, but I think like this idea of bringing life into an order is typical. It's very human, but it's not possible anyway.
Yep. You never see a straight line in nature.
And then anyway, what does it mean? Life, my life. I mean,
yeah, you know, I really like the description of Ramis, that organization is done in order to automate. I mean, because I'm in the process of organizing my kitchen, and this is it's just that I am cooking and I need a pan, and my hand just goes to the left. There are pans. No need to look around. Oh man, where did I heat it? And you know, it's nice. It's like taking care of yourself. You know, like child needs some organization in life. Child needs this hours. Now we eat. Now we sleep. Now
Structure, yeah.
maybe in nature there are no straight lines, but there are nests. There are, you know, the places where animals go to drink water.
So maybe the question is, do these things take care of themselves, or do they require input? You know, the waterfall forms and the animals find their way to it. You know, the kitchen will reorganize itself when you keep putting the pans where you can reach them.
Well, organizing the kitchen is mostly noticing where do I most often put down salt and pepper, and oh, this is the place for salt and pepper.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. When I go looking for something, let's say I want to, for example, I want to find a tube of super glue, and I go looking for super glue, and I go to where I expect it to be. And if it's not there, when I find it and use it, I always put it back to where I first went looking for it last time. And that's just, is that organization? But that's what I do. And that means that I don't have to think about where I've put it. I go to where I naturally want to go to find it. And it's there because I remembered last time and put it there. Doesn't always work, but yeah. So it's allowing nature to direct. Let's let nature do the organizing.
I think organizing things is kind of a skill also. You kind of develop it, and it's fun. So I don't know what's the problem.
Yeah, that what I heard about that there are so many ways of organizing things that you don't know how to organize them. It's, when organizing it goes very bad when I try to find the best way to organize my kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have something special and we want to put it somewhere so we won't forget where we put it. And don't we always forget where we put it when we do that? Do you find that experience? I must remember where I put this and I'll put it there, and then next time I go to look for it, I've forgotten where I put it.
Ramiz, can I ask, do you feel like you face the issue of when you have to make a decision, you compulsively research about the best way to go about doing certain things, and you feel like you can't stop doing it?
Yeah, it's very crazy actually.
Okay. Can I also ask, how much information do you need to feel like you will make the right decision? And if, of course, you have to have made a lot of decisions because you can't be thinking about these things forever. But if you feel like you have enough information to make the right decision, after you make the decision, how do you know that you made the right decision and that you had enough information? And then what does making the right decision mean?
I don't think it's about the decisions or the right decision or even the content of the decision. It's the feeling of I have no idea what to do. Is kind of the thing that I'm trying to work around. And it's kind of habitual diversion, trying to manage things and control and make sense.
Can you ever know what to do? Do you think anyone knows what to do?
I think if the problem, if I created, not created, if I find a problem that's clear, simple, if I simplify the problem enough that and figure out what's actually the solution would look like, then But the thing is, I don't care. It's just a thing that happens. There is some association with about not knowing that it is.
Yeah.
It feels like a kind of a threat.
Yep. Yep. So this is what I was, I got a glimpse of a moment ago when you were talking. It's not about organizing. It's not about being organized. It's about not feeling what we feel when we feel disorganized. So being organized isn't the issue. That's just a way of getting away from feeling disorganized, feeling the confusion.
Feeling it's running away of the free fall.
Mm.
The free fall of I don't know. I really don't know what's happening. And it's freaking me out. And it's scary. And I don't want to feel it. But somehow I know it's true. And there is a part of your mind that will never accept that. You can read story, you can say, yeah, but life take care of itself, and you can write book about it, and it's beautiful. And you can support the mind until some point. At some point, it's impossible for the mind to accept it because it can't. The job of the mind is to do everything that you're telling, to organize, to synthesize, to reduce the problem to something that it can understand and then resolve. So the mind literally makes the problem real, literally. And then it solves it. It's fine, that's fine. But I'm sense that you are hitting something, and I want I want to highlight it to you. You don't know. And there is no way for you to know.
So if we've got this thing, so what David was just describing, I was right with him up to a point, right? So that the thing, the big thing here is that not knowing anything feels really comfortable. Really, it's a very enjoyable. It's where my freedom is. My freedom. I don't know what that is. It's a feeling. There's a feeling there that comes from not knowing. I really embrace not knowing, not being able to know anything. In fact, I've got no knowledge whatsoever. I've just got a few beliefs. But the difference between what David said about you may be accurate, that you're freaking out about not knowing. And me embracing not knowing, there's that just that movement across from being afraid of not knowing or having a not good experience out of not knowing, through to it being such a beautiful place to be. There's no pressure whatsoever in not knowing. All the pressure comes from having to know something. So getting comfortable with not knowing means you suddenly don't have to engage the mind to work out things. What are you going? What's the mind going to come up with? Some answer that you think is right. Well, what's next? Straight away, the instant it comes up with that answer, we're on to the next problem. what a waste of energy. Yeah.
But you see,
Mm,
what you are sharing, Vince, it can be triggering, right? Because the mind won't organize and the mind wants to find out, right? So I think one approach can be, because you don't know, you can let the mind organize whatever it wants and do the choice, whatever it wants, do research, and it's fine. I mean, the activity of the mind, it's not a problem. What the mind think it knows, and the patterns that it takes to find solution to problems doesn't have to stop. It's just that there is a wider understanding of what's happening. It's like if a child of 4 years old come to you and say, at school I learned mathematics. Now I know mathematics. 1 + 1 = 2. I know mathematics now. Yeah, okay. But you know, mathematics, it's a bit more complex than 1 + 1. But okay, why not? You know, you can live life with that. There's nothing wrong with where the mind is at and what it does. It's just that, like, if the child come to you and say this, you have a broader understanding of life. And the mind, it's focused on something so narrow. It's so small. So it's fine. You can just let it be.
Mm.
And with this kind of thinking, you can allow the understanding of not knowing dawning in you while the mind is busy doing its little things there.
Bianca before said something about auto-reference, and this example, like, I am lying now. This could be the truth as well. But then I was wondering, I mean, maybe it's just a word game, but if you say, I can't know anything, then it means that you can't know that you maybe know. So I don't know, it doesn't really mean anything.
It's that self-referencing thing again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say, I don't know anything, and I'm not even really sure about that.
But you see, it's not really true. Because if I ask you, where is Australia on a map, you will point it to me. If I ask you to write your name, you will be able to do it. So when we say I don't know anything, it's not true. It's just the mind has a knowing, but I am aware that this knowing doesn't represent the whole truth. And the whole truth is so amazingly big and huge and understandable that saying that the mind knows something, it's kind of ridicule.
Mm.
But I can say it.
Mm.
This is the scope that I'm pointing to. Nothing has to change.
So here is my compulsion for organizing. Could you say that there is 2 types of knowing?
If you want to, I mean, try. I mean, everything we say here, it's not true. It just maps to travel a little bit and to orient ourselves. So try to say, okay, there is this, I don't know, this human knowing, this mathematical knowing, and there is this knowing of spirituality, and try what happens, see what happens. There's nothing wrong in trying things.
But when you asked that question, Ramesh, you had the biggest smile on your face. You were almost laughing out loud as you asked that question. And that to me tells me that let's not focus on the question. Let's focus on the smile and the feeling you had about what was going on. And your answer to the question is probably in that. Why did you think it was a funny question?
Because I noticed that my mind is trying to organize things
Okay, great. Great. Yeah. There you are. There you are. You're managing. Yeah. Yeah. And I tell you, the biggest tell is humor. When you can feel, when you see that you're feeling that something is funny or ridiculous or whatever, that tells you that you're in a good place, I reckon. Yeah.
It's like I feel like my mission is to solve the communication of problems. But the more I try, the more it's impossible. It's impossible to communicate without conflict or misunderstanding. So
Of course. So when you say the problem of communication, that's an invitation to look at what you mean by that. And then when you get to looking at what that means, you'll discover that that sits on something else. And then you start looking at what that means. So when you talk about the problems of communication, that can be huge. That can be a big area. So you're talking about the ability to transmit what you're feeling to somebody else. Is that what you're talking about, the problem of communication, or to communicate something else? What is the problem of communication that you're referring to?
it's more like when two people talking about different things.
Yeah.
Or it's like I like I was interested in reading about Ken Wilber system or what, I don't know. It feels very complicated. I feel like I have the same
Yeah.
impulse like him to organize things.
Yeah.
And we have these squadrons and whatever, and I find it's like it solves a lot of the confusions in some areas, and I feel like it can be helpful. It can actually lead to clear communication. And but I don't know. I feel like I'm more compulsive with it, maybe.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one, Kevin Wilbur. He managed things to the nth degree, didn't he? Yeah. And yet, presumably, he's still awake. Who knows? Yeah. We here in this group, we have communication that always seems to be on the edge of working out what's really meant. We're always double checking what we're saying and so on. And yet here we are at being really authentic and open. And so imagine how much harder any communication is as soon as we bring in the social mores, social way of talking. And then we have to always infer what somebody means. I can never say it directly because otherwise people get offended or whatever. That's a society. That's a cultural thing. But so here in this group, we can get around a lot of that by being really authentic and saying what we mean and not being offended by anything and so on. Yet we still have struggles. All the time we have struggles using words to communicate. But we do probably a better job of communicating with each other here than what we do when we go out there and start talking about the weather with people. So is it possible ever to have really good, clear communication? If you imagine we're in a science fiction movie and we've learned telepathy and we can share our thoughts with each other. My immediate reaction is that the chaos will reign supreme then when we can read each other's thoughts. God, communication will go right out the window. There won't be any communication.
Yeah, about communication. Yeah, I did the mistake sometimes that I started to talk with good friends about non-duality, and then I understood better don't do it, because then they gave me the feeling as if I was going crazy or something, and then or if as if I was one of these people saying that coronavirus didn't exist, or I don't know, like this conspiracy theories. And now the 9th of June there will be elections in Europe, and as you know, we have this problem with populism and right-wing parties and stuff like that. And then I mean, from my perspective now, I mean, I remember one of the videos of Pernilles, where she says, or she asked the question, can an opinion ever be the truth? And I mean, I know that nobody is right, or nobody sees the truth or something like that. In that way, I'm not very political, I don't know, but it's yeah, there are like the society is very polarized, and also like I just imagine if in my circle of friends I said, yeah, but anybody is right anyway, then they would really think like, are you crazy? We have like a right-wing party in Germany that is really causing trouble to democracy and stuff like that. And on one hand, I really understand this preoccupation, but on the other hand, I think it's something that is just happening anyway, you know, like. But yeah, in those situations, sometimes, of course, I can't say like, I don't think that everybody is right, you know. I mean, it would just cause conflicts that are not necessary.
Well, there is no real communication anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. Like someone had like, I guess everyone here had dreams, right? At some point in the past. So when I'm dreaming and I'm talking to someone, right, in my dream, I'm talking to someone, and the other one, he's out there and I'm speaking, and I don't know what he's thinking, and all of this experience is happening. But the thing is, the communication doesn't happen through a physical space to the other person in my dream. So like right now, there is impression that communication goes through the word, through sound, through what you perceive. But communication is instantaneous. It's immediate, and it doesn't use the canal that we think it uses. And even if you think that in the term of, if what I say seems absurd, even if you think that, oh no, but that's absurd because we speak and we listen to each other, okay, even if you use this map for relationship, even with that, you have to admit that you are only in contact with your experience. You are never in contact with the other one. And you have to admit also that whatever you see, you perceive, and whatever you hear go through the filter of your belief and how your body is structured and your brain is structured. So anyway, even if you think, even with that map, you have to admit that you communicate only with your own experience. So there is no one to be in conflict with, and that's why everyone everyone is right. But you cannot say this to people. Even when I say this, I feel crazy. So you know, there's
Mm.
not there's nothing to say, but it makes sense. This is the thing. The amazing thing about reality is like the direct experience doesn't match doesn't match the map that's the conceptual map that the mind builds. But the good thing is that you can always check and it's always true. Oh, that's true. I'm always aware of my thoughts. I cannot, you know.
Mm.
So you never hear the other one. Like right now, you're not hearing what I'm saying. You are hearing what you are understanding about what I'm saying. And what I'm hearing, I don't know what I'm saying because I'm also interpreting the sound when it comes out.
Mm. So everybody in the insane asylum, nobody actually understands anybody else's story, yet they all move around the room. They all get their food and eat in a way where they're actually communicating with each other at another level. So there's this communication between bodies where they can move without bumping into each other. They can move, they know what to do when they go and get their food for lunch. And there's this cooperation that goes on between them. That's a level of communication. Yet not one of them knows what's going on in the other one's head.
Yeah. But relationship is instantaneous, like you said, Vince, and they also do this, you know, in the sea, there are these little fish, you know, the small fish that travel all together, and there are like thousands and thousands together.
Pelagian.
Yeah, and they did this, you know, the electric circuit to the brain, to the part of the muscles. It take, I don't know, 0.01 second, and they move faster than the capacity of reaction, of seeing and understanding, interpreting. So literally, and the bird is the same, literally, they move as one. It's not, but the mind doesn't accept this, but it's just the fact that their communication is instantaneous. They use a channel that the mind cannot accept. Can refuse it, but the communication is instantaneous. And I propose that right now the communication between us is also instantaneous.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted to ask you, Vince, you are married for many years, right?
56, 57 years, man.
So I was just wondering, like, how do you perceive your partner? I mean, do you think you know her, or does it feel like there is someone at your side that you know, or how would you put it?
That's a difficult one to answer. So I could certainly rattle off a whole list of characteristics that might belong to her, but they don't add up to knowing. No, I don't have any idea what's going on for her. I mean, some things, of course, there are some grosser things that, yeah, I can say I get an idea. I can interpret a look on her face or a body language thing I can interpret and be relatively accurate. But, you know, but at the same time, what comes to mind is, you know, I don't know myself. I don't know what goes on inside me. A lot of the time there's stuff happens and it's just a mystery how it happens. And in the same way, she feels a bit like my foot or my arm, you know, like she is not separate in a sense. It's you know, or no, and I don't mean to denigrate her, but no different to the door I walk through, or the floor I'm walking on, or the seat I sit in. You know, they in fact they're all my experience. They're all me. That's probably, yeah. But we could talk about that one for a long time. There's a lot in
Hope
there.
wife didn't hear that, because I mean, she wouldn't like to be compared to a door or a sofa, I guess.
Oh, well, you know, that's right. But I see some things have rubbed off, even though she thinks this is a lot of shit. I think that some things have rubbed off, and she wouldn't take it personally if she heard me say that. You know, she would just go, "Oh, Vince is being weird again." Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's used to it after this many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am married for 22 years, and it's the same. When I was in therapy, we were doing an exercise, you know, on a piece of paper, you make a circle I, and then you place people important to you around it. And I placed very many people, my family, my friends, my co-workers, this, that, spiritual. And there was no husband. No, and my therapist said, why is he not, is he's not important at all? And it's the same. It's me, him. It became one organism.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, certainly not separate. Yeah. Okay. Well, talking about wives, I'm going to go and cook tea. Yeah. So.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.